More and more stories continuously are coming out about how Republicans, specifically those running for re-election this year, are getting fed up with Donald Trump. They don't want anything to do with him. They would love, if possible, to distance themselves from Donald Trump, both literally and, of course, metaphorically. But unfortunately, according to Republican strategists and consultants in recent interviews, that's just not possible for these Republicans. They want a way out. They want a way to say, we're not like him. We don't necessarily stand with him. We do not certainly agree with the things he has been saying and doing recently, but we're a little confused about how to do that. One of the things that we have seen recently is that Republicans are starting to say, we're not going to go to this convention thing that you're having, the big 4-year convention. It's really important. It's a big event, but we're just not going to go to it. And a couple of them, like Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, have said, hey, it's because we're in the middle of a pandemic. This is not a good idea. I'm high risk. I ain't going. Then you have others like Mitt Romney, Collins, and Murkowski who say that I just can't stand the way Trump is, so you can count me out of your little convention in Jacksonville and in North Carolina. I'm not going to be at either of them. And according to the Republican consultants who recently spoke to USA Today, we can expect many more Republicans to do the same thing. That's what we're looking at right now with the Republican Party. Now, here's the thing. There's plenty of Republicans out there who are still willing to stand with Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham is a great example. He is a guy who's actually up for re-election, not doing well in his race, though, getting outraced by his Democratic opponent, who stands by the president relentlessly. When Donald Trump had his meltdown the other day about how fast he plays golf, but the media doesn't give him credit for that, Lindsey Graham chimed in and said, he's like the fastest golfer ever. He does tons of business on the golf course. He's just the greatest guy ever made. But others, notably silent, right? We are seeing more and more Republicans simply not saying a thing about Donald Trump. At least not the ones who are up for re-election. You have your obvious hacks that you see on social media, right? Your right-wing celebrities, your right-wing grifters like your Candace Owens, your Charlie Kirks and Dave Rubins, and even your Tim Pools at this point. Those folks, they're going to go out there and they're going to defend the president. They're going to stand by anything he says. Less out of loyalty to him, I think more out of just hatred towards the left. But nevertheless, they're going to stand by him. But they don't matter. And I know that probably hurts their feelings to hear, but believe it or not, folks, y'all don't matter at all in the world of electoral politics for Republican politicians. You do a good job of helping to push policies, but at the end of the day, you have no input whatsoever on the decision-making on who gets to run what race, and you really don't have much effect on the outcome of any of those races either. Sorry, but that's the sad reality that we all live in. But the politicians themselves, where are they? Where are those voices out there defending the president, saying that he made the right choice here, he made the right choice there, he's doing things that we like, we stand by his decision? In the early days of these protests, we saw those, but those have kind of shut up a little bit, haven't they? They kind of disappeared after about a month, and they've been gone for about a month at this point. They're not out there. They're not defending him. One, because they know he's wrong, but two, because they know that doing so publicly at this point is going to hurt them. The public is not with the president. They're not with him on the issue of the protests, which he thinks they are. They're not with him on the economy. They're not with him on the pandemic. They are not with him on foreign policy or the environment or trade or healthcare. They're not with him on any issue right now, and Republicans know that if they latch their wagons to him, then the public's going to abandon them as well.